Hello everyone, this is Professor DePaulo. Welcome you back to Psych 220 Behavioral Statistics. And I want to run through Lab 3, which is really quickly done using the grades.sav file. So make sure your grades.sav file is loaded into SPSS, as you can see here. And the purpose of this lab is to make z-scores and use the z-scores to define outliers. So z-scores are the number of standard deviations that each score is from the mean. And they are a very good way of defining outliers because we know the probability of getting extreme values with z-scores if we're using a normal distribution. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get z-scores. And we're going to look at the z-score for GPA, which is a variable in our data set. And we're going to do analyze, descriptive, descriptive. You have to do analyze, descriptive, descriptive to get z-scores. You will not get z-scores in any other menu option. So we want GPA, move it over. And all we have to do is click this box, save standardized values as variables. All right, under options, we want to make sure we have variance, standard deviation. We don't need min and max, right? We want variance, standard deviation at least, and the mean. And this box has to be checked off to get z-scores and hit OK. And we now have z-scores, z-GPA. Now I am defining an outlier that is more than 2.58 standard deviations above the mean or 2.58 standard deviations below the mean. The reason I picked that number out is because positive and negative 2.58 give us roughly a total of 1% in the tails of that distribution, of that normal distribution. So we're essentially saying that outliers are only in the extreme 1% of the data set. And that's a better version of a definition of outliers than you saw with the analyze, descriptive, explore, where there was an outlier it gave us, but it gave us the 5 highest scores and the 5 lowest scores, many of which were not technically outliers. Here we're getting top 0.5% and bottom 0.5% of 1%, half of 1%. And those are that's a better definition for outlier. So in order to see which of these meet that criterion, we can either scan it and look for either something greater than 2.58 or less than negative 2.58. And I can scan the data set like this. And if it's a small data set, I could do it. And look for anything extreme here that's above 2.58 or below negative 2.58. And I don't necessarily see anything here that fits. Now, it's hard to scan the entire data set, so we can do select cases. So let's do data, select cases, reset here. We're going to do GPA. So if GPA, or actually I could do absolute value too, if you want to do that. That'll look at the negatives also. So let's find absolute value right here. ABS. If the absolute value of GPA is greater than or equal to 2.58. So that will include both negatives and positives. Hit continue. Hit OK. And that did not look like it worked correctly. Oh wait, I didn't do Z GPA. Sorry about that. Let's do Z GPA. I did regular GPA. We have to use Z score GPA column to look for the outliers. We can't use regular GPA. So data select cases, and I use regular GPA. So make sure you're using the Z scores. So I do absolute value again, ABS. And let's do Z score GPA at the bottom here is greater than or equal to 2.58. So that will check both the negatives and the positives. Hit continue. Hit OK, and we get all zeros. Now, the all zeros means that there are no cases that meet that criteria. So there are no z-scores here for GPA that are greater than 2.58 and there are no z-scores for GPA that are less than negative 2.58. So we have nothing to report here. If I do analyze reports, case summaries, it's going to show me nothing. So I have to put ZGPA here, right? The one thing the ZGPA that I just created before. Hit OK. And it says nothing. No cases were input into this procedure. That means there were no outliers for GPA. So that's how I check outliers in SPSS. Clear this out. And let's try some other variables for outliers. So go back into the lab. Calculate outliers for quiz scores 1 through 5. Also calculate mean, median, variance. So that's all done in the same menu. So very easily, just looking at descriptive stats, right? Analyze descriptives. We can have standard deviation, variance checked. Do I ask for a range here? I ask for a range. So let me check off range. You cannot get the median here. So just telling you, you cannot get the median in this menu. I don't know why they did not include the median here. You can get everything else you need, but not the median. So we're going to continue with that. And we're going to check off quiz 1 through quiz 5. And we have to get the median through a different menu I want to show you. Make sure you have this checked. We're doing quiz 1 through quiz 5. And hit OK. Here's our range, our mean, our standard deviation, our variance. We are missing the median. We'll get the median in a separate step. Here are our z-scores for quiz 1 through quiz 5. Now let's look at the outliers. Data select cases, reset. We want quiz 1, the z for quiz 1 through quiz 5, so we need if. And we do them one at a time. Let's do absolute value again, ABS. And do z for quiz 1. 2.58 again. And let's see. Outliers. And it's showing all zeros again, right? If we want to double check it, analyze reports, case summaries, reset this, get rid of limit, make sure you put show cases. We want Z quiz 1, and it shows us nothing. There are no outliers. This is warning. No cases. So we're confident there's no outliers. Here's range, mean, standard deviation, variance. If you want to find median, you got to do analyze, descriptives, explore, right? And you're going to want the median for all these quizzes. So we just do stats. We don't need any plots here. We just do descriptives. It'll give us the median. Options, nope, leave that the same. We have to get rid of this filter though first. So we can do it for the whole data set. Quiz 1 through quiz 5. Hit OK. And here is our median. So median quiz 1 is 8. Median quiz 2 is 8. Now, could you do everything this way? Yes. You could do everything except z-scores with this menu. Analyze, descriptives, explore. Get you everything except for z-scores. You have the median in all of these. Now going back to z-score, we did quiz 1, nothing. Quiz 2, let's do select cases. Reset, let's do absolute value quiz 2. If absolute value for z quiz 2 greater than or equal to 2.58. And I see nothing there either. Well, I do see something. Oh, no, it's quiz 5. Quiz 2. Do I have anything in quiz 2? Let's scan it. It's showing me nothing. And it looks like nothing. So nothing in quiz 2. Clear this. Let's do it again with quiz 3. Same thing, data select cases. If. Now, if I want, I could just delete quiz 2 and delete the 2 and put a 3 in here. Hit continue, hit OK. And I'm not seeing anything either. Nothing. Scan it. No, I see this. This is definitely an outlier. So absolute value is not working for us. So let's do it another way. I don't know why absolute value is not working for us. Data select cases. Because I see for Z quiz 3, I see 2.59. That should meet the criteria right here. But I actually see other things here. So absolute value is not working for us at all. And I'm not quite sure why that's the case. So we're going to have to do it the hard way. So if strange that absolute value is not working for this. So we're going to do if. Let's start with quiz 1 again. If quiz 1 is less than or equal to negative 2.58, I'm going to have to put or in. Or is the vertical line. Or Z quiz 1 is greater or equal to positive 2.58. So I'm doing or with this. So this is a little more complicated than absolute value, but for some reason absolute value is glitching on us. So we're doing it the long way. So this is quiz 1. Yep, and it's showing us the outlier. So the absolute value function was not working. So we're doing the workaround here. And you see the 1 here. So I can also do analyze reports, case summaries. And let's look at quiz 1. And it's going to tell us the outlier. There's 2 outliers, case 46 and case 55, and these are the z-scores. So this is working correctly, whereas the absolute value function was not working correctly. So you try to find shortcuts, and they end up not being shortcuts. They end up being wrong. So that's quiz 1. Let's do quiz 2. Select cases again. Reset. Let's do Z quiz 2. So if negative 2.58 or greater than or equal to positive 2.58. And do we have anything here? I see a lot of zeros. I see a 1. We have something. So analyze reports, case summaries. And this makes it so much easier doing case summaries here, right? Find Z quiz 2. Make sure these 3 boxes are checked. Hit OK. Case 55 on quiz 2 is an outlier. Okay, so we did quiz 1 and quiz 2. Let's delete the filter. Let's do quiz 3. So we're doing it the long way, but we're getting the right answers as opposed to trying to take a shortcut. Data select cases. Reset. Let's do Z quiz 3. If Z quiz 3 is less than or equal to negative 2.58 or greater or equal to positive 2.58. And we have something here, I see. For quiz 3, let's do analyze reports, case summaries again. For Z-score quiz 3. And our outliers are 21, 46, and 55. Now we just have to do 4 and 5. So clear the filter. Let's do 4 and 5. But this one looks like nothing. So this is Z quiz 4. And I see this is close here, negative 2.54, but it's not over. And it looks like there's nothing here. Negative 2.54, close but not good enough. No outliers for quiz 4. And let's do quiz 5. So it is kind of cumbersome to do it like this all the time for each variable, but it is what we have to do to screen these for outliers. And let's see, we have a filter. Yep, we have an outlier there. So let's do analyze reports case summaries for Z quiz score 5. Let's see what that outlier is. Case number 1 and 2 are both outliers. So I'm using 2.58 and negative 2.58 to screen for outliers. And we found outliers in pretty much everything except for quiz 4 here. And then how do you deal with them? Well, that's tricky. You can get rid of them, but a lot of times the outliers tell you stuff about your study, and it's not easy just deleting them. You just don't want to delete the outliers. You want to learn from them. And I always leave the outliers in unless they're ridiculous outliers. Like you could tell that the person is not engaged, they're not even trying, or they're making up things, or there's a data entry error. Then we can talk about deleting those outliers. But if they're like borderline outliers, they tell us that these people had a atypical response, and that might help us looking at the future setup of the study or future studies, right? So you just don't get rid of them. If you have a lot of them, you might want to think about what's going on with your study. You know, I mean, is it too long? Are people getting tired and they just give up? Or, you know, too many questions? I mean, the wrong sample, you're getting people you don't want in your sample. You kind of have to be a detective to figure out what's going on with the outliers. If there are a lot of outliers and you want to transform the data set, you can. The problem with transforming the data set is you end up not being able to interpret the unit of measurement because it's either the logarithm of the original data or the square root of the original data. And that will get rid of the skewness and get rid of the outliers, but it will also make the data harder to interpret in the long run. So I kind of try to avoid that if I can. If you have a lot of outliers, I think there's probably something wrong with your study or your sample, and you got to figure out which one it is. But this is a way you can screen for outliers. So either screen by just looking up and down, scrolling, or doing what I'm doing with make the filter and then do analyze reports case summaries. And that's it. And that's it for lab 3. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.